This week on World Stories. The Rohingyas' suffering continues in Bangladesh. Mozambique, oil boom for one, bust for the other. Our first report takes us to China, where the country's leader Xi Jinping has been confirmed for a second term. The cult of personality surrounding him has also given a boost to red tourism.
Chinese farmers living a carefree life in the countryside. Suddenly, Chiang Kai-shek's nationalist troops destroy their idyll. These are scenes from the Chinese Civil War of the 1940s, reenacted for old and young. Every day, visitors can see how Mao Zedong's outnumbered communist troops beat back the nationalist advance. The performance is part of the tourist program in the northern city of Yan'an.
The way that Chairman Mao liberated and conquered Yan'an back then, it was really spectacular.
Wenjie and his sister are spending their school holidays here with their grandparents. They want to do their part for the children's education.
The children should learn more about the history of the revolution, how Mao conquered the whole country from here and founded the new China.
The communists entrenched themselves in Yan'an to escape their enemy. After the revolution, the city became a place of pilgrimage. Now more tourists come here than ever before. There is a clear propaganda purpose behind the tours. Like Mao, President Xi wants to be idolized. The personality cult of China's most powerful man is rife in the village of Liangjiahe, an hour's drive away. One of millions of Chinese youth whom Mao exiled to the countryside, Xi had to learn from the farmers in this village.
Chairman Xi lived in this cave with a comrade. The photos are of his time in the village. Have a look.
Villagers built cave homes that protected them from the harsh mountain climate. The official tour guides say Xi learned to understand the common people here. I claimed I was a tourist. Journalists aren't welcome here. In Yan'an, the Kuang family has reached the cave where Mao once lived. But there's zero criticism of the late chairman here and no mention of the millions of people who died because of his policies.
Everyone has flaws. No one is perfect. But Mao led China out of misery, and that's what counts.
The revolution tour is almost over. Only one more stop today, and then the children will have completed this part of their red education.
A humanitarian crisis is unfolding in Bangladesh. In a matter of weeks, over 500,000 Rohingya, a Muslim minority from neighboring Myanmar, have poured into Bangladesh to escape persecution.
Thousands of people still flee Myanmar every day. 600,000 Rohingya have left for Bangladesh in recent weeks. Almost all of them have experienced great suffering. Janat Arabegum wanders through the refugee camp in Cox's Bazar. Clearly traumatized, the 11-year-old tells us what happened in Myanmar. My father was murdered by Myanmarese soldiers. Thankfully, I wasn't there. Neighbors had hidden me, and then they brought me to Bangladesh. Janat is now searching for her mother. She hopes she also made it to Bangladesh. Janat doesn't even have a tent. She sleeps out in the open. More than half of the refugees here are children. The relief organizations and the government of Bangladesh aren't able to support them fully. Everything is in short supply: tents, food, and medicine. There's just one hospital in the camp, where a handful of doctors work around the clock. When they are on the run, the heat and the long trek are very hard going for those driven from their homes. Most people arrive here in very poor condition. The most serious cases are treated in the hospital in the provincial capital, Chittagong. Many refugees have been maimed by landmines or carry the scars of bullet wounds. All of them accuse the Myanmarese soldiers of brutality.
We want support for them, just like drugs, medical supports. And most of all, we want that the international community will give pressure to Myanmar to stop this type of inhuman works.
Myanmar and Bangladesh have formed a joint working group to discuss the repatriation of Rohingya refugees, but very few actually want to return.
The southern African country of Mozambique is experiencing an oil and gas boom. It may be a blessing for the impoverished country, but it's a curse for some of its many fishing communities.
Soon, this part of Palma in northern Mozambique will be almost unrecognizable, and its community of fishing families resettled far from the source of their livelihoods. In 2018, a natural gas liquefaction unit will be built here. Fisherman Amade Dade Mussa is worried. My whole family will be affected because we've always depended on fishing. We'll be resettled far from the sea. Lea Albrecht has been part of a team of volunteer paralegals since 2012. The group emboldens local communities by educating them about their legal rights. They work together with civil organisations and know the community's problems well. We have to empower the community, help people understand their legal position. Because once they know the law, then they'll be able to defend themselves. Lea Albrecht is monitoring the case of this field. It was taken from Amade Rasheed's family for a small amount of money. It should have been used to build a school and a hospital. Instead, it's now occupied by a construction company from the oil and gas sector. With Lucia's support, Amade has made an official complaint to the authorities. Land is the main issue in Palma district. Many communities have had their land confiscated without any consultation, agreement or compensation. And that could have allowed people to keep on farming. The paralegals are regularly intimidated and receive threats from the government. That, together with a lack of funding, makes their work especially challenging. It's tough, but it still won't stop Lea Albrecht from defending Palma's communities.
Our last report takes us to Germany. In Berlin, the curtain will soon go up on a very special musical. The project's intention is to bring young refugees and local teenagers together.
The last rehearsals before opening night. Flying High is turning these teens into singers, actors, and friends.
I've made new friends. That was really great for me. I didn't really know anyone before. We rehearse just once a week. And when I'm here, I forget the whole world. I'm just here with my friends.
Maher is 18. Sina is 17. 2 years ago, Maher arrived in Germany alone from Syria. Sina is German and has lived in Berlin for 8 years. For her, the musical provides a creative balance to her preparations for high school graduation exams. The teens have been rehearsing together for half a year. They developed the musical from their own ideas. The plot, a peaceful people is attacked. Hostages are taken and adventures ensue. Director Todd Jonathan Fletcher wrote the script based on the teens' ideas and composed the songs.
My aims are to show the kids that they're capable of more than they ever imagined possible. These people who have ended up in Europe, who've come from somewhere else, can contribute. Not just be here, not just be integrated in the easy sense of the word integrated, but contribute, which is beyond integration. And I think that's what people want to do.
Even at break time, the teens learn each other's languages.
I'd never had anything to do with refugees before, and it was interesting to get to know another side of them, see what kind of people they really are.
Then a quick costume check. The performers even sewed their own outfits.
I've acted in a few theatre groups before, so this was like more training for me.
Not in my case. I'm doing all of this for the first time. Acting and singing are now my main hobbies.
Maher and Sina, like the others, are doing all this in their free time, and often for the first time.
For this particular project, the art is a means to an end. And so we've strangely achieved that goal of integration and bringing people together, and we now have to still keep working on the means, because of course it would be nice if the musical works out, and I'm sure it will, but it's not really about that.
For Todd Fletcher, this project is much more about bringing teenagers together, helping them discover new perspectives, and sharing them with the wider world.